once you've hit that goal, once you've made that money, once you've gotten that job, once you've gotten that grade, what's next? What's your reason for it? And if it's just for the sake of achieving that goal, then you're left wondering, damn, was it that meaningful? And probably not, because you'll feel good about it for a little bit and then you're like, okay, what's next? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mumbling Thoughts, and today we're going to talk about how homework is pretty similar to life. Now, I'm not one to enjoy homework, but I feel like when we rush to complete homework and do it for the sake of just doing it, we don't really get anything out of it and we don't really appreciate it. And similar to life, when we rush to complete our goals or we don't slow down, you know, we aren't able to truly appreciate what we have and appreciate the little moments. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. I realized that in the beginning of the semester, I would be on top of all my assignments and complete all my homework way ahead of time. And in doing so, I would give myself a lot of leeway and wiggle room for completing assignments. And in doing so, I found myself able to really immerse myself into the homework and actually appreciate it, try to understand it, and get into the uh, get into the nitty gritty details of what it's trying to say, and actually trying to understand it and really appreciate the work. And rather than rushing it for the sake of just completing it. But I noticed that every semester towards the middle of it, I'd start slacking off, whether it be because midterms are over or breaks or something else happens. But when I start to slip on the assignments, I'm a lot more focused on getting the work done for the sake of just doing it. And that's because I'm procrastinating or I didn't manage my time well. And now I'm struggling to meet deadlines. And all I'm thinking about is meeting that deadline, whether at 11:59 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like some professors set like afternoon deadlines. I'm like, bro, like, come on, stop. Like, we literally have other shit that we gotta do. And I'm not trying to do this like in the morning or mid afternoon, you know? Um, but what I realize is I stopped doing it for I stopped trying to learn about it. I stopped appreciating it. I stopped immersing myself into the subject or the homework. And that's because I'm just so focused on the deadline. And I begin to find it really tedious, or I even start to dislike it. And like I'll give you some examples, like art. I fucking love art. I love drawing, I love painting, I love creating, and I also like consuming art and watching others create art. And it's just such a wonderful thing because it's just really cool to look at, one, and two, you can truly appreciate the work that gets put into creating art. And it's just amazing. But the thing is, when I put art homework towards the very end and I procrastinate and I do it either the day before or the day of, I'm like, fuck, like I need to finish this. I need to get this done by tomorrow. And all I'm focused on is completing it and meeting that deadline. But since I'm rushing, I'm not able to really immerse myself or enjoy it because I'm rushing, even though I love art. Or another example is when when I need to read a passage for like philosophy. I love philosophy. Like, it's like critical thinking and just questions about life. I love that shit. But when I put it last minute and I'm trying to read 20, 30 pages literally like 10 minutes before class, I'm not able to truly appreciate what the writer is saying. You know, what Aristotle or Socrates or um, Marcus Aurelius or whoever, like what they're saying. All I'm doing is reading it for like a quiz that we have, or making sure that I can participate in class, you know? And I'm trying to meet that deadline, and I'm doing it just to do it, you know, just to finish it, to get it over with. And when this happens, we're not able to immerse ourselves. We're not able to really appreciate the work, you know, that gets put into this. And because I'm rushing, I'm not really able to enjoy it. And like I said, I'm not one to enjoy doing homework. Like, don't get me wrong, there's been constantly times where I'm wondering, like, what the fuck is the point of doing this homework when I could be doing something else, you know? I could be reading or working on mumbling thoughts or doing something else, hanging out with friends, cooking, working out, you know? But the thing is, we say that with that time we could be doing X, Y, and Z, but oftentimes, how many times are we just scrolling or being lazy and not really doing anything with that time, you know? And I find myself guilty of this too, because I would say with that time, I would do X, Y, and Z. But when I have that free time, I literally wouldn't be doing anything, and I'd just be chilling, scrolling on my phone or whatnot. Which is why, like, if you're if you have to do homework for like the grade, you might as well try to get something out of it, you know? And in the example of homework, we tend to find it tedious because we're procrastinating and we're pushing it off until the last minute, you know? And as the due date approaches, we're rushing to get it over with or to complete it, you know? And in that case, we're left completing the homework for the sake of just completing it. But if we took the time to start earlier and give us that leeway and truly try to immerse ourselves in what we're doing, we're able to understand and enjoy parts of the work that we're doing. And now you're not just doing it for the sake of completing it, but you're actually able to take something out of it or appreciate the work for what it is. And I feel like this can be applied to real life too, because when we go about our life, we're constantly chasing a goal or trying to achieve an objective. And that's not a bad thing, because life needs purpose. Life needs an objective, a goal, or many goals to give it purpose and make it meaningful. Because otherwise, you're going about life aimlessly without any true purpose in your life. And that's kind of dull, and a lot of people fall into depression because they're just left wondering, what's the purpose of my life? Like, what am I doing? Why do I exist on this planet? And that's why goals and objectives or purpose is important. But the thing is, if we're rushing to achieve that goal or objective, we're not able to slow down and truly appreciate the act of doing it. And this is important because when you're set on a path to achieve a goal, oftentimes once you reach that goal, you might feel fulfilled, but that fulfillment is very short lived because you might be happy that you achieved that goal for a day or a week or a month. And then you're left wondering, what's next? Because now that you've achieved this goal, you have nothing else to work towards. And you're just left thinking, what what is next for me to do? And if you continue on this cycle, yes, you rack up a ton of achievements, but the thing is, are those achievements meaningful? And oftentimes, if you're rushing to do them, maybe they're not because you weren't slowing down and truly appreciating the act of doing it, and enjoying the little things. Because you can set this goal of achieving $1 million or financial freedom, or even just playing the piano. Once you've hit that goal, once you've made that money, once you've gotten that job, once you've gotten that grade, what's next? What's your reason for it? And if it's just for the sake of achieving that goal, then you're left wondering, damn, was it that meaningful? And probably not, because you'll feel good about it for a little bit and then you're like, okay, what's next? Which is why it's so important that you slow down, because it allows you to be really present in the moment and truly find value in the experience. And you can see how far you've grown. You can notice the little details, the little things, the actual effort that goes into putting the work instead of just trying to achieve that goal. And this can be applied to various aspects of life, whether it's career ambitions or like personal development. Because when you're rushing towards a career goal without enjoying the process, it can lead to burnout. And you see that a lot, like I'm in finance, so you see that a lot in investment banking, where a lot of people rush to get that internship at an investment bank. And then they work a few years or even just interning and they get burnt out because they just wanted that internship at an investment bank, whether it's because of money or they don't know what else to do. They just wanted that internship or that job or to work at an investment bank. But now, and for me, I felt like I that would happen to me as well. But now that I'm taking a few classes and it's more like case studies and actually applying our knowledge, like DCFs, evaluation, the 7 steps to like investing, or specifically like for credit, I'm actually able to truly appreciate the work and understand what goes into it and why it's important, why it matters, and if I enjoy it or not. And because I'm able to slow down and learn it, appreciate it, I do enjoy it, and that really prevents you from being burnt out. Um, and for like relationships, chasing the perfect future, with this other person without appreciating the present can cause you to miss out on the meaningful moments. And what I mean by that is, if you're constantly trying to chase this perfect version of a relationship, you're only chasing that idea of the perfect relationship instead of actually enjoying the little moments that you have with this other person that make the relationship special. And that's where some of us might fuck up because we're trying to chase this perfect relationship, this ideal relationship, but we don't enjoy it in the moment. And that's regrettable and that's sad because if it ends or if something happens, you're like, damn, I really wish I lived in that moment instead of trying to be this perfect relationship or whatnot, you know? And finally, like for life in general, it means being able to appreciate the simple things in life because oftentimes we take our life for granted. And I feel like people say you should journal and write what you're grateful for, and you should, but you should only do that once you actually realize what you're grateful for, why you're grateful for it. And it's going to be because, or it should be because, well, in my opinion, it should be because you could be in a worse off position than you are now. And I'm still learning about, I'm still learning what it means to truly appreciate what I have in life. Because oftentimes, like I said, we take things for granted. We take the roof over our head for granted, a bed to sleep in, parents, or like, or friends, or school, education, computers, camera, like all of these things we take for granted because one snap and your life could change. You don't know when things can change. You might lose a leg, you might lose your vision, you might get into an accident, your parents might die, war might start, and you're out fighting for your own life. And it's not until you truly understand what you have and that it can disappear any moment and it's truly luck that brought you here, then can you really like begin to appreciate the little things in life and appreciate what you have. And I feel like that's just really important. And I feel like I'm starting to learn or understand what my teacher meant. Shout out to Alex, by the way. He was my English teacher, and I took him twice for a second time because I just loved him so much. If you go to Fordham, you should take his class, Alexander Mint. Um, English, like composition 2, and text and context, and probably a lot of other classes. But he always tells us to slow down. And he tells us this especially while we're reading the text so we can immerse ourselves within the text and learn to appreciate the small details and figure out what the author really means, because word choice is really important when it comes to writing and literature and reading, because different words, different phrases, sentences convey different meanings, and the author chooses and makes decisions on what words, what sentences, how to phrase things, how to order things, in order to provide a deeper meaning. And I feel like there's a deeper meaning behind that, though. And that's to slow down, to be more present, and to reflect on what we are doing and why, and to appreciate the process rather than just focusing on the result. So if you ever find yourself rushing to complete homework, try to start earlier so you can actually give yourself the time and the leeway to try to immerse yourself in the work that you're doing so you can appreciate it instead of getting burnt out or finding it tedious or rushing it to complete it just for the sake of completing it. And that's all I really have to say for this video. Thank you all for listening. Leave a like, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop your mumbling thoughts in the comments below. Um, and remember that you should slow down and learn to appreciate the small things because we often take things for granted. That's all for this week's video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.